Hello. Welcome back, everybody. It is day 2 of the tour tournament, and we have some good games for you tonight. I am joined by none other than the lovely Mercury once again. Mercury, how are we going?
Oh, it's so good to be back. You know, Cloudflare couldn't stop us yesterday. Hopefully no more problems today. And we're ready to get into another amazing day of games. I mean, looking at the names today, it is going to be an incredible series of games.
It really will be. And honestly, I'm hoping and I'm confident that Cloudflare has fixed all their problems and it's going to be a very smooth sailing from here on out. For anyone that didn't watch yesterday, just as a bit of a recap, Tour is a 14-team fearless double elimination bracket tournament. Today is our second round of best of ones. Best of threes will start on the 13th, and the finals will be best of fives around the 21st. I'd just like to remind everyone about our sponsor as well, Logitech G, who is supplying each of the main roster members of the winning team a Red Pro X Superlight 2 SE. The Red Pro X Superlight 2 SE is great because it has pro-level precision with the most advanced sensor in gaming, tracking over 888 IPS, 80G, and up to 44,000 DPI. That's a lot of DPI. The Pro X Superlight SE is an iconic 60-gram pro gaming mouse designed with the world's top players and engineered to win. Who wouldn't want one of those? As well as the prize for the winning team, Logitech G is also giving away a white Pro X TKL Rapid keyboard to the person with the highest pick'em score. I hope you had the right ideas and right predictions, because the Pro X TKL Rapid Gaming Keyboard delivers ultimate customizations. With the performance and reliability of Logitech G engineering, the Pro X TKL Rapid ensures fluid, quick reactions for a consistent and reliable experience right out of the box. Next, we're going to take a look at the current prize pool distribution. Now, as a lovely, generous donation yesterday, $50 has been added, and the whole amount sits at $2,411. Any donations will continue to be added up to this amount, right up to the finale, so this number may keep growing. Other than that, let's take a look at today's matches today, the lineup. And I want to ask you, Mercury, what are you thinking? Look at this lineup.
I mean, look at that first game, right? Holy Crusaders versus Rush Hour. We got Bradlers and Violet as those coaches coming in. They've built some pretty strong teams overall, and I'm excited to see what they can bring to the table. Violet and Bulldog in that bot lane, role swapping from AD carry to support. So it's going to be interesting to see what strategies have come out. And of course, Vestian in the top lane for Holy Crusaders has been memed a little bit over the course of things. I think, definitely some of those plays have been a little bit questionable, but it's going to be interesting to see what he brings to the table here.
It's certainly a lot of people have a lot riding on these games, and it's going to be interesting to see the supporters on either side. I think personally, I'm a Vestian supporter as a day one. Yeah. And I'm really hoping that maybe Rush Hour isn't aware of just how powerful that Cassante is and if he can bring it out.
Yeah, we'll have to see. None of these teams have those extra bans, unlike Kaiosi's team yesterday, who, despite the tier 4s, did perform pretty well and got close in that second game. So we'll just be the 10 standard bans overall. Still in the best of one, so we won't have Fearless just yet. But you got to imagine these teams are thinking about that.
Absolutely. It's going to be on everyone's mind. And something I want to bring up, you mentioned the role swapping. That has occurred a little bit over the course of this tournament. And I'm really interested to see the reasoning and more so the execution of how that is going to occur in these games. What if you had to take a sort of a gamble and a guess? What are you thinking was the reason behind such a big role swap?
I don't know. Maybe to spice things up. It's interesting to see though, because even looking at Violet's OPGG is still playing AD carries, right? Hasn't taken a break from them, even in preparation for this tournament. So, I mean, this is Violet. I'm not going to doubt him, right? He's one of the best players this region has ever produced. He's gone international. I'm not going to doubt him. He's got something up his sleeve, and I'm excited to see what it is, especially with Bulldog in that bot lane with him. A solid pick as well.
Absolutely. As let's take a look at that team lineup right now. Big names in these drafts.
Look at those
very
lineups.
Big names in these drafts. I have seen Ayameru put on a very strong performance, and Kane as well. So it's going to be a battle of the bot lanes, a battle of the great bot lanes, as we also have Team Captain Brattles versus Mudley. What do you think about that matchup?
I mean, it's hard not to talk about Brattles. Has been hyped up on social media by Vestian in the video, if you've seen it.
I did. I saw this morning
Yeah.
that great hair. Imagine waking up with such a dapper looking complexion. I could never. But I did see the hype coming for Team Holy Crusaders there.
And a pretty solid champion pool, if I'm being honest, right? Has the Swain, the Aurora as well. Able to pull out something like the Rise or the Victor, a very versatile control mage champion pool. And that might be something that Mudley Mudley's good and all, but maybe not enough to take out this amazing champion pool that Brattles has at his disposal.
Yeah. I think it's going to be, you talk about that champion pool. Is that your predictions on who's going to get banned out the most? Do you think it's going to be, he's going to be tanking most of those bans?
We definitely did see that as a strat popping up yesterday, right? Banning out arguably not the most strongest, but the most solid player on each team, right? We saw, 4 bans go into the mid lane. We saw jungle pools banned out completely. Maybe that will be the strat that continues further in towards this tournament, perhaps targeting the captains, especially as that sort of core of the roster.
Yeah, and we'll take a look at those bans right now as we are about to get into the draft and the bans.
Here we go, Holy Crusaders on that blue side. We'll have to see what the first ban will be. A lot to choose from. It looks like Violet will be going back to that 80 carry, so a little bit different from what we've seen. They will be swapping it back to normal. But again, very solid bot lane pick here.
We saw the dominance from the Mel yesterday. Wasn't it such a strong, just a powerful performance on multiple games? Will we be getting that again? Do you think that's going to be the theme? A lot of Mels coming out, pick or ban for this tournament.
I mean, I hope so. She's my favorite champion, so
of course,
I hope to see her as much as I can. I mean, that execute is just so powerful in the early game, right? And then we see the Aurora coming out away from Brattles, the Lee Sin take that away from Dermot as well. So some pretty stock standard bans so far.
Yeah. I think we will be seeing Aurora is the start of what is about to be many mid bans. Really, I don't think they're going to want to see is Victor. I'm hoping for a bit of a Vex ban. I do know Brattles plays a decent amount of Vex, and I would love to see that in this tournament. But as you mentioned, there it is, the Swain completely gone.
Yeah, I mean, this jungle pool, though, I'm a little bit worried for Holy Crusaders here, because even though it's being shrunk down, there's still so many options, right? We haven't even seen the Mundo come out recently, which has been a sleeper pick in the past few patches. There's so many different options. The Grave's going to be banned as that last pick away from Arya here. And now we get into the real meat and potatoes of this draft. Who is this first pick going to be? Are they going to give it... Are they going to first pick away the Cassante? It won't be. It's going to be this Jhin.
On the Jhin.
Very unusual pick. You don't see it a lot recently.
I feel like that's a bit of a risky first pick, a very easy ADC to counter. So it's going to be interesting to see. Maybe Arya has plans to sort of hover bot side here. to ensure that the strong counter doesn't come in as J4 is locked.
Yeah, a mobile 80 carry going up against the Jarvan and the Kai'Sa. This is going to be a very easy lane to exploit. And this is Violet's Kai'Sa. This isn't just any random solo queue Masters player. This is
a threat.
One of the scariest Kai'Sas on the server.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the counter to that is going to be a Rel from Kane here. Now, Jin Rel
see how this lane
strong.
matches up,
Ooh. I believe that's Arya Gwen. If I'm correct,
it could be
Arya Gwen.
I haven't seen too much of Vestian's Gwen before, so probably will be going towards that jungle. Pretty solid clear overall, has the dash as well, so can get a good situation going if the 1v1 against that Jarvan happens, and the Camille to round out that first pick. So definitely anticipating the Cassante, you have to imagine.
Yes, absolutely. But look at, honestly, on Rush Hour's team, we're getting a lot of lockdown with this J4 ult, with this Camille ult, and with the follow-up from with the Kai'Sa. The classic would be if Complex just locks something beautiful like a Galio. We could get that absolutely beautiful combo, Galio R, Hero's Entrance on the Camilla. I would love to see it. As we get a Renekton, Vestion's Renekton taken out of the pool.
Yeah, they might look to just commit a few bans here towards that top lane, maybe force him onto something like the Mbessa. Never mind, the Mbessa immediately banned away, so definitely trying to bait him into this Cassante pick.
That's interesting. It's gonna be a bit of a gamble because it might work out for Vestion. You should never underestimate the Vestion on his main pick.
Absolutely, and banning away that Galio.
Yeah, there
like
it is.
You mentioned, so getting rid of that wombo combo, especially with the Jarvan, that would be absolutely disgusting. Especially, I mean, it would just allow Violet to pop off in those fights with the Killer Instinct. Rakan to lock in as well. Pretty solid bot lane and not too shabby in towards this Rel lane. It's not that bad of a matchup. Ornn, lock in here for Vestian. It's another one of those stable tanks. I've seen a few games of it, and I like what I see so far. And rounding it out with that Azir. So quite strong team fight if they can get those ultimates ready.
Yeah. Looking at, and speak of the devil, and she may appear. There's the Mel lock-in. There is the Mel lock-in. Now, we did actually see the Mel Azir matchup the other day. It didn't go too well for that Azir. Now, that was mostly due to ganks and other instances. But I'm wondering if we're going to repeat or if Rattles is going to sort of twist the tide, turn the favor, so to speak. We are going to get into the first game, I think.
They've got so much extra CC as well to make this Mel work. It's going to be incredibly powerful if it's online. We can see that new skin as well.
The lawyer.
Love to see it.
Love it.
Lawyer, Azir. Love to see it. Towards the jungle.
I will just say,
a stock standard.
Looking at comps, Holy Crusaders comp is very AP heavy. Significantly AP heavy. And they actually have, Rush Hour's comp has a lot of ways to itemize against that. That J4, that Camille can very easily build more, and it's going to make later game team fights, once a bit of MR is collected, somewhat difficult. And I think that means that the comp is going to rely around this Jhin. I think we have to be playing around this Jhin. We have to be allowing our only exit of AD into the game. We need to allow him to flourish and to perform.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard situation to really gank this bot lane, though, with when you sort of want to farm up in the early game, and especially on Rakan, which, as a champion, is pretty good at buying Merc Treads if he wants it. We'll have to see how things go and how this lane, already a little bit of a how do you do from Ayamiro to get a little bit of lane prio, is not expecting anything out of the ordinary, unlike what we saw yesterday with the chaos that ensued in that early game.
We did see a lot of really early fighting and long extended teams as well. I don't believe with the comps here, and considering these comps are a little bit more well-rounded, a little bit more sort of mid to late game focused, I don't believe we'll be getting such so much chaos. But honestly, I would love to be proved wrong. As a level 2 is hit.
Grand entrance. Gonna get dodged out, but still forcing them off with that Void Seeker as well. Top lane going about as well as you'd expect. Little
it's
bit of
gonna
a
be
trade, just stacking up these grasp.
slow matchup for the top lane.
Big chunk of damage, but it is off the timer of that grasp, so won't get too much of a favorable outcome there. Level 3 as well, can always pressure for at least a big chunk of damage. Doesn't have the ignite this time around. Good unstoppable.
Beautiful buffer.
Means there isn't really a whole lot of follow-up, so Vestian will live to tell the tale here. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Brattles. Good trade. Goes on in, has that lethal tempo, so won't have too much in the way of that adaptive force that a Conqueror would otherwise provide.
In terms of the Gwen pick, what are we looking at for dodging abilities with that? What's the most value we can make out of it?
Luckily, you've got a lot of mobility, right? You've also got that ghost as well on that low cooldown. The dash as well. I believe the cooldown decreases from auto attack, so you've got a fair amount of mobility as a whole. You're really wanting to dodge out of the way of that EQ. Luckily, Grand Entrance is pretty televised, like where it's going to be, so it's not terribly hard to dodge if you're coming in for this gank, but not really any position to gank here. You sort of just have to go for the herbivore route and just continue to farm.
Very peaceful game, at least in the start.
Ooh. Arya didn't spot that ward. So we'll have a little bit of information. Not going to go for it, just trying to sneak this back, but that's huge information here for Rush Hour.
It's a game of patience, at least in this early game, as I think both teams don't want to sort of blow up anything yet. They just want to sort of scope each other out, see how they want to play, as one single action could spell the downfall or the upwind of one of these teams' game.
This might be the most tame early game we've seen all tournament so far.
It really has been. The only fighting has been between these two supports here.
Yeah. Good stop on the back there from Bulldog. Managed to juke out the way and land that Q in time. Void Seeker, or if that would have hit, could maybe go for it.
As Arya lead
is looking for something, but this gank, I mean, doesn't really have a whole lot to work with here. No ignite, no red buff to get that slow. Vestian might be in a little bit of trouble here, but Derma's still level 4. So not a great situation to gank. Can buffer if he times it right. So yeah, probably just sticking to the farming in this early game as gold continues to be about even.
It's a difficult lane for a J4 to gank as well, and with that interaction of the E breaking the ult wall. So any sort of lockdown you have is not going to be ultimately that useful. Only the Camille, and with all the other CC being able to be buffered by that Bellows Breath, their reliance so strong on that Camilla, and Bastion gets tanky enough. Gonna have Derma having to look elsewhere.
Now I believe Camille ult can be stopped by the Bellows Breath as well. I think that stops I think it stops the Hex from going down. So I'm not entirely sure. I'm not an player usually.
Honestly, that sounds pretty dead on the money.
Yeah. So if that is the case, you're really gonna have to find that angle of opportunity for Strawberries and Derma to get that combo off. If the dive, if any sort of a gank is possible towards this top lane as Grand Entrance, potentially towards mid. A lot of fighting going on at the moment. Ayamiro just forced off under the tower. Nice chunk of damage. The plasma will proc. But no summoners burned either way. Vestian, not a good sign of that trade there. Yeah, that true damage is a bit much to be reckoned with.
Still has any of that armor building. Completely useless, unfortunately.
Yeah. Has those bickies though, so we'll heal up a fair amount in the meantime as Dragon on the board here. Solid Ocean Drake to start things off. That's going to help out in this laning phase as Vestian might be in a little bit of trouble. Strawberries doesn't get the buffer. Big chunk of damage. Looking for it. Almost gets the solo kill. Forced to flash away.
Screen for the dive.
Vestian, I was not familiar with your game. Goes on in. Takes a big chunk of damage. Somehow tanks the tower. Oh, probably from the Cinder. And almost falls for that greed. As meanwhile,
it was a very well played.
Dreamer Shuffle fails in mid. I believe hit the rebuttal, so was able to block at least the CC of it in time. Good buffer on that as failed gank in mid. Bit of action, but still no kills.
It was very well played from Vestion, a real show of mechanics there. And then just greeting for that dive at the end, unfortunately, wasn't enough with the Camille passive shield coming in to stop that last bit of damage. But it was still blowing both flashes is really good to remove that flash engage from Camille as potentially grubs and as people move topside, as we get Rakan coming up as a bit of a lane swap has come through.
Yeah, Jarvan, level 6 online, gets the back, gets that pickaxe. They're going to be quite strong here as a bit of a dive attempt there, but there is the Bellows Breath again. Just trying to zone away any and all CS here from Vestion is chunked to half health. Meanwhile, like you mentioned, that role swap, that lane swap rather, to come on out. Strawberries continuing to farm. Very difficult situation. You don't want to let this Camille get too much. Just snowball away in a side lane as all 3 grubs going to be secured here. So looking to get these objectives together.
They are wanting to fight it.
Hang on, there might be a bit of a fight. Double DC chain almost finds it. Cataclysm to go in. No wall to be stopped there. And they're trapped inside the pit for the moment. 1 kill. It's traded on back though. And they will get a 3rd grub. So just the 1-for-1 to end it all off.
A very confident decision to go for these grubs as well as the dragon. And you see that Holy Crusaders did not want to give both objectives so freely as they all seem to collapse, counter collapse to ensure that it stopped. You saw it was unfortunate, but we did see a little bit of the action in terms of how that J4 ult is going to work with a team comp such as this. And it was just unlucky.
Hang on a moment. Oh, Bulldog might be in a little bit of trouble. 4th shot, the flash is clean. And that's a 2nd kill on the board for Holy Crusaders.
And a plate to boot as well as the gold evens out. And now it is going to be... I will say, Violet played that teamfight very nicely, dodging multiple skill shots. And Aomeru had appeared in the backline to hit a couple of those roots there. But good micro stopped any sort of extra kills there.
Now towards this bot lane again, just continuing to farm up. Both these teams realizing they need to get to that late game if they have any chance of closing things out cleanly. Big chunk of damage. That's the Ornn for you. Now, equal tempo stacking. Doesn't want to go too far in. Knows that the Call of the Forge God is still there. With the Rakan info. Not exactly a play you want to go for unless you're absolutely confident.
I'm hoping that the communication has been kept up to ensure that Rush Hour understands not to underestimate this Ornn. We've already seen him.
Yeah.
You know, we've already seen a couple members of the crew underestimated, and it always turns badly on them. And now Violet and Strawberries both know something could come out of this Forge God.
Waiting around for these objectives, it seems a minute 15 for the Cloud Drake. Got to imagine Rush Hour is going to try and set up some vision around that. We see the back coming in now from Bulldog. Going to get those wards online.
And I believe we're seeing as well
in
J4, we're going for a Profane Hydra build and really aiming for damage here. That's going to be ensuring a slightly weaker front line in terms of tankiness and survivability. But once you get 2 lethality items online, that full combo is going to be able to do a lot of damage. And I think the aim of this J4 is only angling for this Jhin, blowing up this Jhin as swiftly and as quickly as he can, because I would like to believe that they are aware of the AP skews of Team Crusaders.
Yeah, usually you see that Sun Sky as now Derma might be paying for that itemization with his life, goes on in, takes a big chunk of damage. Not dead just yet, but the Feat of Warfare claimed by Aomeru. And that's exactly not what you want to see 10 seconds before the Drake spawns.
It's without the tankiness, without the health, without the extra healing from the Sundered Sky, you can just see how squishy that J4 is, finding himself falling to just a couple of the Jhin shots. Hopefully maybe they'll learn from this as a TP comes through.
Yeah, he's just not really tanky enough to go for that just yet as they dive on in towards the dragon. Going to be claimed by Arya this time around as going in once again. Golden to find a kill, but that's 2 instantly. Vestion might have the angle to work with. Braddle's in the pit, dodges out of the way. Bellows Breath in towards the corner. Violet is kiting. still alive for the moment. Can Vestian somehow find this? Look at the health bars running away, won't be able to. It's 5-5 on the board, a double kill for Violet.
What a team fight. What a team fight. The huge TP flank from the Ornn there with a really nice triple knock-up. And it was almost perfect. It was just unfortunate. The actual ram, the knock-up of the ult just missed. And it was still a positive for Holy Crusaders as they do collect that dragon, and Aomeru finds himself getting out. But it evens out a little bit so as the gold lead goes in Rush Hour's favor.
First items on the board, pretty much across the board for these teams. Bulldogs got that redemption as well, so any fights in the meantime are going to be a bit precarious for Holy Crusader to take. Minute 46 on that Herald, so just going to be playing around maybe some towers in the meantime.
We saw as well in that team fight how much, maybe at least in this game, Mel might struggle into a comp such as this. I was watching or keeping steady eye on that Mel, on her E's and on her Q's, and she got a decent amount of damage on the Gwen and attempted to ult it. That hallowed mist just completely invalidates all damage that she's got. And so it's going to be really hard when this Gwen hits the Nashers, hits the Riftmaker, hits the Rabbit on power spikes, and is putting out so much damage because besides the ADC, besides Violet, there's not much that can stop her.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a little bit difficult to get into that position as Braddles could be in a little bit of trouble here. Derma has the ult, so does Bulldog. Heavy pushing into this lane. You gotta imagine someone knows. There's 4 people here. Violet doesn't have the ult to work with. The heal to come on. And looking for the angle. Good shuffle in towards the wall. Might be able to find something. Never mind. This Complex picks that up basically for free. And this Mel is starting to get those items online, get those kills, and might be a menace come late game.
Yeah, a very coordinated dive from Rush Hour there with very little counterplay. It was attempted to from Braddles with that Shurima shuffle, but it just still wasn't enough, and didn't seem anything to be collected on the bot side as this Camille gains a very large CS lead over Vestion here.
Breathing on this tower as well. Kane's going to be spotted for the moment, chunked down to half, so will be open towards that Herald if they can get the charge off and maybe claim that objective. Under those kills, the Feat of War was claimed by Crusaders, so they do have that advantage going in towards this next fight. They haven't really had the chance to push towards one of these towers yet. Kane might be in a little bit of trouble. Big chunk of damage. The Metal Maelstrom going to come on in, looking for it, and just not enough follow-up damage. Maybe lives to tell the tale. Call of the Forge God almost hits him, and it will be the Golden Eclipse to finish off that support. And now, how does the rest of this fight go? Curtain call. Forces them off for the moment. Big chunk of damage. No ult available just yet for this Rakan, so will be the free Rift Herald here for the side of Holy Crusaders.
Really unfortunate from Vestion there, allowing that Mel to rebuttal the ult. Allowed for the extra hit onto Kane, which allowed the passive of Mel to execute Kane there. Just a series of unfortunate events for sure, but that idea, that constant pressure of the rebuttal needs to be kept in mind by Team Crusaders, because with so many projectiles on the team, so many skill shots that can be reflected, we can't be forgetting. We cannot be forgetting. We've got to keep on the ball. Hopefully that will act as a sort of reminder.
And it's the little ones as well, right? It's the Gwen ult, right? If that Gwen ult stacks up to 3, that's a lot of damage being reflected back that you don't really think about in the heat of the moment. So really it's going to come down to, can Complex get these angles, save the timing enough for that ability? Is playing with fire around the river here. 20 seconds, hang on a moment, Violet could be looking for something. Killer Instinct not online, so not able to secure that kill, but a big chunk of damage. This Kai'Sa rather, is just insane here. With 7 seconds left, they're just going to probably cleanly secure this objective. Will mean that feat will go in favor of Rush Hour.
Yeah, the 2-item Kai'Sa is a really scary one, and you can just see the absolute burst of damage combined with that passive. It can shred this Jhin, and Considering we're about to get a Rift Herald, there might be a little fight in the mid lane here.
Yeah, they will claim that objective, and it will be on the board. Hang on a moment, the ult's there, and Violet's trapped in for the moment. Arya is just melting them, finds the angle, and it will be enough just about to claim those kills, and they collapse with ease in the mid lane.
You might even look for a tier 2 here, as there
Somehow,
seemed to have
Vestian
been a...
got solo killed in the top lane. Hang on a moment.
we might have missed
the camera, I don't know how that
went on there. Would have known what gone on there, but do take that tier 2, which is going to be evening out the gold even more.
This
Gold
observer has an agenda. I love it.
Yeah, that was seemingly a little bit targeted there at poor Vestian.
The Strawberries might be in a little bit of trouble here. Gonna be forced to flash. Probably will get out at the very least. Hang on a moment. Curtain call. Maybe. Might have the angle to work with. Collector not online. Doesn't land the final shot. Good hook shot to get there to safety. Not going to pay the price for that misstep. 8-8 still the score.
It's a very nice dodge, and we can take a look at the gold scores here. Take a look at Arya's gold rate.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is a hefty lead on that.
That's what, what's that? 9 camp lead over Derma at this point is absolutely insane. I mean, and that's what you want to see from the Gwen, right? You don't have the ganking potential of someone like the Vi, someone like the Jarvan. So you just got to scale. You got to get those items online. 2 items, 4 items, those spikes are really huge for this Gwen, and you really want to get that available as soon as possible, because we saw what happened in the mid lane when there is a fed Gwen, and it's not something you want to be face to face with.
Running down that enemy team is what this Gwen is looking to do, and you can see the confidence in the items as well. A Dark Seal has been picked up with 7 stacks already collected. I'm wondering if you're thinking the same thing, is that going to be turned into a Magi?
Oh, hang on a moment. Oh! Violet's just doing Violet things, I guess.
Wow, evidently.
A solo kill in the mid lane. Just what you'd expect from one of the best players the region has produced now. Gonna have to collapse to try and make up for that, and it will give Complex an opening to get that bot lane tower online. And Rush Hour, they do have that gold lead, and they have the room to work with as Artican spawns, and Kai'Sa is so incredibly starting at taking this down.
Look at her shredded. It's already down to 10k here as Kane moves in.
They can't even go in. He's gonna miss. But we'll have a lot less PC capability here, but look at the angle. Grand entrance. They're going to dive on in, looking for it. And it will be the steal here for Arya. You called it perfectly. Golden Eclipse lands onto 2. Call of the Forge God goes completely wide. And now, how does the rest of the fight go? Violet still alive for the moment. Doesn't get the execute. Barely misses the threshold. And now Vestian has to do something. Has to be the hero. But it won't be enough. And it's just down to Ayamiru, the Collector, in the hand. And that's a double kill for Violet to end things off. An ace for Rush Hour.
Wow, I mean, another just impactful, crazy team fight. We saw, I love the fact that we get pretty much a repeat of the other day. Arya just walking in, activating that Hallowed Mist, and taking that Atakan right under the nose of Derma. He does not care at all. And unfortunately, the team fight turned a little bit anti them, but still getting that Atakan buff is going to be so huge. Although the gold has skewed strongly in Rush Hour's favor from that fight.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're Violet right now, missing out on that purification, the passive from the Artican is going to be, it's going to hurt. But for the side of Ayamira especially, who's been sort of the saving grace of this team so far, those executes going to be even more potent. Over the wall here, maybe not a position you want to be in, Kane. You have Flash available, looking for it, but just doesn't get it off in time. The swiftness is there, and now Arya has to collapse as well, but inside the mist means you can still attack. It's a 1-for-1 trade there as Braddle's trying to do something, trades it back as well. 2 for 2 at the end of the day, both supports and jungles.
You saw the use of that Hallowed Mist, and that Hallowed Mist is coming in handy. There was no angle for Violet to get in, and it's almost a bit counterintuitive. The J4 chose to ult the Gwen And that
Yeah.
bubble just sort of allowed the Hallowed Mist to sit in there like a soap bubble. And there was no opening for Violet to even get a single auto in. And it's just, it's going to make the rest of this game so tricky for this J4 to play, who seems to be picking up a death stance at the same time.
Yeah, this lethality build is going to be less and less impactful the further this game goes, because even the tankier, you know, Sundered Sky build does a lot of damage, right? And as the teams get tankier, especially with Mountain Soul, could potentially mean that we might see the build be changed up, as Kane in a bit of trouble here. Call of the Forge God, Curtain Call, going to be sent back. That might get the execute on towards Bulldog, but it won't be enough just there. Now, Violet's going to run down Bestian. Look at that to tell the tail. Look at that attack speed. That's lethal tempo fully stacked. Swiftness come on in, Grand Entrance, and just melting this tank here. Violet is 9-1. And this is becoming a slaughter, even with the Artican on their side.
The angles that this Kai'Sa has available to her, she doesn't even need to be using in these team fights. She is putting out so much damage at this 3-item power spike here. There seems to be shutdown there by Brattles onto Complex there.
And that's sort of the misstep that can occur in this matchup as well, right? You can't really allow the Azir to just free hit you like that, because you can't do anything about it. You can't rebuttal anything in that kit. So
yeah,
a kill traded over, and this Azir is stacking up, right? This is 2-item Azir, has the empowered boots as well. After that kill, is probably gonna be able to back and maybe get upgraded boots, probably some more. Have to see is.
I'm a big fan of Azir's path, actually. Brattles has gone for a more sort of supportive with
traditional,
the second, which and look at that.
Zonya's third. By the looks of things, yeah.
Shattered Arm Guard complete there. That's going to allow... We did see in that dragon fight the Camille lockdown. Hopefully another solo doesn't occur here. But we did see in that dragon fight Camille locking on to Brattles there. And he was able to push her away and sort of, you know, ruin the tempo of that engage. But I think Brattles is aware that he might be considered a threat now. These 3 items are certainly on the way.
Kai'Sa with the abilities empowered is just an absolute nuisance, right? The extra movement speed from that hypercharge, it's impossible to play against here. Now with Complex mid, over the wall, they've got the combo to work with. They're going to go for it. This is a very early engage, Bulldog, and it might not be enough. Going on in with the Swiftness, sends it back in the direction, so not able to knock it away in time. Shroomer Shuffle only lands onto one. Meanwhile, diving onto the backline, Ayamiru is going to live to tell the tale of this. Lethality Jarvan is just not doing enough in the fight. It will be the 1-for-2 trade at the end of it all.
Yeah, I saw the vision of what Derma wanted there with the engage, but this build is really making it tricky. He has no survivability, and that tower combined with the Jin shots, even with the death, without the health from any items, he's just got base health that he's looking at here, and it's not enough to be doing the plans that he's going for.
Arya's dead, so it means that they might get a free objective. There's no smite for them either, except for Bulldog with that spell book. Not even going to need it though. It will be Complex claiming that.
They understand
50,000 gold for this team.
They really understand how much and how quick this Kai'Sa can rinse objectives, and they are utilizing that aspect so well. They're going for every objective, and they are just rinsing it down as quickly as possible and stealing away any sort of control that Holy Crusaders can get.
And with this Baron on the line, that's the Banshee Veil completed. Killing Violet has become basically impossible. It was hard before. It is basically impossible now. Minute 40 until Soul Point is online. They've got Baron for that long. Going to use this to clear out the vision, gain as much room as they can in the bot side, and just build up their items for this objective, because at that point, I struggle to find a way, even with the Artican, the Holy Crusaders can come back in this game.
Yeah, well, there is one way, and we saw it here. Vestion, not just a team player, but, you know, showing even more helping towards his team as he's upgraded the Arya's Nash's Tooth there. And if those Ornn upgrades can come through, we're looking at a lot of extra gold applied to the team and potentially helping them out at least a little bit more.
That's a wrap cap on Mel. This is going to be nasty.
Okay, yeah. It's going to be grim, just in terms of long range damage.
Both of those tier 2s taken as well. The entirety of the jungle is now in control of Rush Hour. There's a few scattered wards here and there, and they do have some TP flank options, but they're not giving them any room to work with here. Violet in top lane going to push that in as well. 20 seconds. They're not going to do Dragon on spawn. It looks like potentially Arya might look to go and steal that away. You have pretty fast objectives with the Nash Tooth, but will it be fast enough?
Yeah, and take a look at the gold lead now with these tier 2s down. As it's just exploded. 8k on the side of Rush Hour. We saw in that last fight as well, the rebuttal blocking not just the Ornn ult, but also the third Gwen R recast. And losing out on that, just that much damage spelt. Really did spell the demise, as this Gwen holds so much strength these games.
And now, Violet in a little bit of trouble. Shurima Shuffle has the angle to work with. No bench available. Looking for the angle. Barely lives. Not going to be enough just yet. Gets out for the moment. Arya claims it. Curtain call available. Has the collector as well. Bulldog incredibly low. Finds it. Looking for a fourth. But the fourth shot is rebuked.
Oh,
and that's
my
a double
God.
kill for Complex. And what a way to do it here. Vestian, the last left standing, but won't be long for the world. Living in the need the execute. Camille will be the one to find the ace for Rush Hour.
This Mel champion! This champion is so crazy! This champion is absurd! That's the best thing Jin's got, that final fourth shot, and he just sends it right back. Australia, New Zealand post, straight to your doorstep. Good lord. So much damage.
Even waved the stamps and all that, just immediately sent it back. And that, I mean, this is why you play Mel. It's for moments like that, and you love to see it, right? 10 and 2 for both of these carry, right? They've got the Shattered Arm Guards. They're going to complete that Zhonya's, and then at that point, how can you even fight them at that point?
Yeah, we actually saw in that team fight around the river, everyone was so localized on Violet there. And the moment that Violet popped that Zhonya's, Arya and a couple of the others just sort of stood around waiting for the Zhonya's to end. But that just allowed Complex to get so much other damage out. And now, once, as you said, once those Zhonya's are complete, you've got that times 2. There's 2 people that you've got a beeline for, but they've both got so much survivability. Who do you go for? How do you lock them down?
And the the Mountain Soul rather as well.
Yep.
Like
no poke is going to be helpful.
Even if you get rid of the Banshees, even if you get rid of the Zhonya's, you've still got to contend with 133 armor on this Kai'Sa. 104 magic resistance. You are not killing this Kai'Sa. Hang on, I might have spoken a bit too soon. They're going to send everything onto it. Vestian is the one to claim the kill. And now the Cataclysm as well. I spoke too soon. As it might be enough. Hang on a moment. Strawberries is here. Nice hook shot. Will it be enough? Good dodge on the rebuke. But they don't have the damage just yet. Strawberries, this Camille might have the angle to work with. Big chunk of damage on towards Arya, and it will be enough. Even taking these carries down, this Camille is so solid. Kane, the last left standing, just going to fall all the same. They're going to give the kill over the Bulldog. The ace once again, and Rush Hour is looking for the win.
Wow, I mean, that was the perfect storm. It was exactly what we were saying could never happen, and it did happen. But still, the rest of the team was there to follow up. It does not matter if you take out that 10 and 3 Kai'Sa, because there's gonna be a
Amira, I don't know if you want this.
Oh.
Yeah, that's not going to end well for you. The ace, once again, as the Jhin will fall. The one saving grace of this team is the last left standing. No one's going to even be left alive to see this Nexus fall other than the Captain Brattles. Never mind, not even that at this point. Vestian just has to sit and watch the base fall. And Rush Hour will dominate this game.
Wow. Well, that's first game out of the way, and what a crazy game it is. Another game of Mel domination. But you cannot deny Violet's Kai'Sa is just
yeah.
beautiful. It is a work of art. Absolutely.
I mean, this is something that gave, 80 carries in the LCO nightmares, right? Now we're seeing it in this tournament, arguably the best pick that this player has ever played. I mean, he's got a deep champion pool, right? The Xayah and everything. But these carries, man, the Mel as well. I mean, I love the champion. What can I say? That was just dominance from pretty much from start to finish for this team.
It was really absurd. It was, once again, I know I'm just a broken record, a parrot saying how close these games are, but until that sort of Arakan sweep into Baron happened, the game was so close. There was so much going on, but in those tiny moments, Violet just clawing ahead, getting every piece of gold, a couple solos on Ayameru, just allowed for that gold lead and those item power spikes to come into play when they needed to come into play. Could see the domination throughout. I also wanted to mention as well the J4 build. Listen. I was not a fan with the Profane Hydra into Death Dance, but I have to give it to him that GA at the end, still no health items on that build.
Yeah.
The GA at the end bought so much time, and he lived to be able to finish the game with the rest of his team there.
And this was Rush Hour with two of their subs, right? Mudley and Tezza didn't play this game. Right. This is them at 60% strength. Not to say that Derma and Complex are bad, right? Complex did amazingly. Derma had those moments of shine, but this is not the team that at its core. And this is something that's going to be very, very scary going into the rest of this tournament.
Absolutely. And we will get back into the rest of this tournament after a quick break, which we'll take right now. We're back. Oh man, those were some. That was some real cool team fights. Those were some really, really interesting team fights.
That was a good way to start the day, I reckon.
Certainly,
a little
absolutely.
amuse-bouche for what is to come. Next two games, hard to see what these chefs serve us up.
My favorite, I do have to admit, my favorite part of the whole game is the seeming slight vendetta that observer had against Vestion, just panning over to the body.
There was an agenda there.
We
noticed.
There certainly was. And we'll see if that any sort of vendettas occur over the next couple games. We do have, I believe, 2 more games to go. And while there was going to be, I believe, 4 games on the next day, that has been completely fixed. So it's just going to be tomorrow, 3 games. But they're going to be really good games. They're going to be very, very, very good games.
I mean, even looking ahead to this next game, right? Team Capybara going up against Hello Kitty Friendship Circle. I mean, look at the names on this. We got Tally, you got Styx, you got 400 CS. You know, you got Magic Heron on the other. You got Halo. What is this? I mean, this entire day as a whole is just star-studded across the board, and I think most excited for this mid lane matchup, right? Halo versus Tally. This is, you know, I said it with Violet. Tally's another one of those players that is just, you know, oh, I got that wrong. My bad. Apparently it is Variety Bucket versus Fat Pizza for our next game. So even still, a lot of exciting.
That's the thing. Do you know what's great about that? The comment of its star-studded cast over everything. Every single one of these teams has so many cool players, so many really cool players. And the person that I'm interested to see in the Variety Bucket is Incept. I have put him down for best KDA on my pick'ems.
Interesting.
Now, he plays a control mage style. He plays a very sort of, you know, very safe playing, but picking up kills here and there. And that was my theory going into the KDA, him having the highest amount of kills with the least amount of deaths. But we also have some real greats. SK Knight, the top lane of SK Knight versus Irresponsible. Very, very, very interesting. As we get the lineups right now.
Phyto and Pradith. A few other names on there as well. Shinky. Names that people will recognize across the board here. Quan, Frog, of course, Strone. I'm not going to say that name, but
let's just say, well, the easiest way to say the jungler. King. Fat Pizza's jungler.
Yeah. We'll call him Stro.
We've got some really good names in Ost, don't we? We've really come up with some.
It is an interesting region, to say the very least.
I'm going to be keeping track of this bot lane. I mean, Pradith, that name echoes throughout the halls of Os. And you've got Shinky versus Quantum Frog. I mean, this is going to be head to head. Got Inter versus Silofu. I personally, that's the place I'm going to be watching the most. That's the place I'm going to be focused on the most. But I personally, I know SK Knight, and I know he runs a very mean top lane. It is a brutal top lane. So if Irresponsible steps out of place once or makes any sort of mistakes, that is going to be capitalized immediately. And we haven't even talked about the jungle yet.
Oh yeah. Phyto, I mean, another name going back almost a decade of professional play, right? Even further in that solo queue. Has so many accolades under his belt. My eyes have to be on Pradith, because we talked about Violet being a Kai'Sa player. Pradith's Kai'Sa is another one of those picks where you're like, you really don't want to leave that up. And you got to imagine if Variety Bucket was watching the stream, watching Violet play earlier, maybe they don't want to see what another 80 carry who's gone international, who's done all of these amazing things, can do on that champion.
Yeah, and we're going to see what these teams are going to be picking as we get into draft right now.
And immediately, we'll be Variety Bucket starting things off with this ban phase. Any ideas for what they might look to ban away here? Probably going to target the captain, you imagine?
I think, of course, a classic captain target. I really do think, and I'll put my bets on it, I think there's going to be a Mel ban. I really do think there's going to be Mel ban. I think taking away Incept's Mel is going to be linchpin as we get immediately Pradith.
Yeah.
Pradith targeted bans.
His most played this year. I believe he has like a 58% win rate on the champion over like 200 games. Something like that. Crazy amount as a Mumu to come on out against that Phyto pick. Interesting.
They don't want the lockdown. They want to sort of, I'm getting the vibe as we see another ADC ban. I'm getting the vibe that maybe we're wanting to shut down any attempts at stopping Praedyth. I imagine Fat Pizza's team play, their game plan is stopping at all puts down right now, keeping Praedyth alive, keeping him going and allowing him to get resets and allowing him to get kills, as that must be SK Knight's Mordekaiser. I have versed SK Knight's Mordekaiser, and it is a beast. It is an absolute beast.
3 AD carry bans here for the side of Variety Bucket. And honestly, I mean, AD carries that Praedyth is known for overall, so no surprise seeing them banned away. Incept, not going to have that Cassiopeia at their disposal coming into this, but what will the first pick be here for SK Knight? And you got to imagine Fat Pizza probably wanting to pick this AD carry in the first round. Never mind, I was going to say maybe they pick the Kai'Sa, but SK Knight and Quan, they have other ideas indeed.
Locking it in, taking it away from Praedyth. It's going to be the play, allowing it to be countered, but another AD locked in. Going to have Praedyth on Lucian.
Interesting to see. I was going to say that maybe we see the Draven here because that is a Praedyth special and a good matchup as well. It will be the Mbessa as that second pick. So how does Variety Bucket choose to round out this draft? Because again, this Mbessa doesn't just have to be top lane, right? It can be the jungle. We saw that yesterday to pretty good success. Renekton and Anivia, those solo lane pickups rather. A lot of magic damage in that bot side in those carries, so it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, you can see there as well. Fat Pizza started to ban out Incept's champ pool, and I believe Variety Bucket just noticed that then and was like, okay, we've got to get him on his comfort pick. And so we've picked up his Anivia, which spells a good sign. We see this Renekton as well on SK Knight. Now, if that is an Mbessa top, that is a very hard counter matchup for Mbessa, and it's going to make it very difficult for Irresponsible to play.
Emilio to come on in. Pretty solid bot lane pick. Not going to go for the Nami that is standard, but this will provide a lot more peel with that sort of soccer ball kick on towards SK Knight if the dive chooses to come on in. Vi, the ban on out. Pretty strong combo with that Renekton. Probably not going to see a Mel this game, I imagine, here from Silofu. It's not a great matchup at all in towards the Anivia. But that makes me think, like, what are they going to go for in this mid lane?
Yeah, Anivia is such a difficult pick to go into. And there it has so many, especially when played well, it can be a true menace. It can be a full-on lane bully. So a deep depth of champ pool and champ knowledge is going to be needed by Silofu to have at least a neutralizing matchup or potentially a counter matchup.
Yeah, and you can't even really go an AD pick here, right? Because you've already got the Mbessa, you've already got the Lucian. You can't really afford to give SK Knight and this Renekton any more opportunities to build armor into you. I mean, even with the steel caps alone, it's just so incredibly annoying to deal with, as that's a lock-in, I believe. So it will be the Mbessa jungle. Never mind. It will be the Mbessa jungle. But it will be Kasante in that top lane, which I think, I mean, is a pretty good matchup overall for this Kasante. Now to round out this comp, we've still got the support, still got the jungler here for Variety Bucket. Let's see what they go for.
I will just say, as they pick up the Jin Jiao, I'll say that in terms of Fat Pizza's comp, they have a quite decently shield-focused comp, which means if SK Knight is allowed to sort of, get early gameplay, a lot of gold in his pocket, he's going to be such a menace in stopping and putting down all that shielding with that empowered W. And now that they've added to their pool, they've got a Lulu and a Jin Jiao. Variety Bucket has a very strong comp indeed.
And Azir to round it out, probably the best option you're going to get in towards this Anivia. It's pretty horrible otherwise with any other pick you got to imagine, but a solid draft overall here for the side of Fat Pizza. And I'm excited to see what Variety Bucket can do. You don't normally see Lulu paired up with the Kai'Sa. That's gonna be interesting. Yeah,
it's slightly unorthodox, I will say, as Lulu's a specifically of a peel, keeping safe champ, and Kai'Sa's more of an aggressive, engaged champ. But I guess we'll have to see as we get into the first game.
Yeah, and you do have, I will say, the one sort of thing that I can think of off the top of my head with that wild growth from Lulu. A lot of dive potential, even with this Kai'Sa, right? If you like ult while Kai'Sa's midair flying through the Killer Instinct, you can land some knockups and start proccing that plasma really fast here. A lot of engage options here for the side of Variety Bucket. We'll have to see what they go for.
Yeah, I think so many. There's a lot of different ways both teams can play these team fights. But in terms of late game, in terms of mid game, who do you think has at least a better team in terms of scaling? What team comes out on top once that 20 minutes, once those 3-item power spikes come through?
I think it's probably Fat Pizza, right? I mean, like, that late game Azir is going to be like, and not just the Azir as well, but the public execution and all out as well. You've got so many tools to isolate and lock down like the primary carries. It's going to be very hard, even with the Lulu ult, it's going to be very hard to keep them alive in that situation, but not expecting much in the way of action in the early game.
As we saw in Worlds when none other than Faker locked Anivia, one tiny piece of CC stopping that Glacial Storm can completely disrupt the Anivia's gameplay. It can completely remove all damage that she can pump out. And they do have a decent amount of catch out and CC with this public execution, with this all out, and the Azir just getting into the back line as easily as he can. So we're going to need expert positioning from all members of both teams.
Absolutely, and looking at this top lane, Irresponsible sort of lost out a little bit on that initial trade. Ward was spotted there from King, so we'll have that information that they know where this Embessa will be located. Mid lane, slightly, especially in that early game, when the ult's not online here for Incept, definitely going to like naturally go in favor of this Azir. Gonna get that push in now. Trying to maybe drop that that egg as soon as possible. Give some sort of
added safety of that
potential.
passive to make it really difficult to get Zenithia down with the flash and of course the classic egg TP technique. It can make for a very tricky situation stopping this Zenithia from just sort of free scaling. With the Renekton and the Xin Zhao, though, their top side, at least for Variety Bucket, is very powerful. K'Sante is going to need a couple items before he's online.
Oh, hang on a moment.
Oh, the dive in order.
To dive this. Early Pathmaker might be enough. Double dash to come on through. The flash is secured, the first blood, and not traded back. A very clean dive here. The side of Variety Bucket. They'll get out for free.
That is a very early, but yeah, as you said, very clean dive. Beautiful tower aggro juggling by SK Knight and Fido there. Obviously planned and practiced, but that was there was very little Irresponsible could do into such a surgical precision.
And good presence of mind on that Pathmaker to stop, you know, to not use anything that would allow you to get caught up in that CC, because we've seen K'Sante's get dived early so many times, and that is such a pivotal moment. Hang on a moment, says Praedyth. Goes a bit aggressive there, forced to flash. Bit of a bait from Quan to try and get Fido in position for another kill, but no dice this time around.
Yeah, both heals used by the supports, but in the end, Quan comes out on top a little bit there with his flash still up, although his back has been stopped as his tempo
Messi in the bot lane.
Ruined.
Gonna land that, and yeah, that's going to provide Praedyth a bit more security maintaining this lane control. Gonna get back faster. Doesn't have too much in the way of items yet. There's the Cull online here for Quan.
The double scuttle from the Ambessa is going to allow her a bit of gold lead, and she is running around this jungle with a full pickaxe complete, which is a pretty decent AD spike. And as Fido had to exchange with that dive for those scuttles, see if it comes into effect and if it was worth it. But K'Sante is behind, certainly, as a proxy occurs in the top lane.
And SK Knight just has the luxury of this proxy right now. Can't really fight, especially with the Dominus online here. So you just have to suck it up and get to level 6 yourself if you're irresponsible here. River Ward will give them information on that dragon. Potentially an angle for this level 5 Fido to go for it.
It's just, it makes it really rough for top lane when a dive like that happens so early because we can already see Irresponsible is now just going to be a level behind pretty much the whole game unless his own jungle, unless this Ambessa can come up and sort of fix things and soothe things out a little bit. But it doesn't look like he's going to, as they might look for an early dragon.
Going to secure that at the very least. Fido is still top at the moment. So does the all-out to potentially get out of there.
Still
the
no
situation
flash.
calls for it, but yeah, not a good situation to be in here. Maybe able to find something at the very least, but just going to hand that kill over towards Fido. 2 on the board for this jungler.
Will be a trade for the dragon, so it's not like they're losing absolute everything here, but certainly getting their way towards that 3-kill feat is going to be a really big bit of progress.
This Lucian in the lane, so oppressive in that early game, right? The cooldowns for this Lulu, too long at this point to really make an impact.
Combined with the Emilio passive.
Public execution goes in and it's clean. Praedyth might take a bit of damage on the dive. Don't necessarily know if you want to be here, King, but gets out cleanly. Now Fido in a bad position, gets the flash over the wall, and it will just be a 2-for-0 dive.
Wow, the mobility of Ambessa there, the public execution, all the dashes. It's insane how easily it was for the Ambessa to just get out. Though
SK Knight didn't spot, so we'll get out free this Ambessa. And suddenly that dominance over these feats of war beginning to sink back in favor as the gold evens out once again. Just farming up this cull.
Bit of a lane swap going on here as both teams will be looking for any angle to get this 3rd kill.
Really hard to find those isolated kills at this point though, because there's so much defensive, there's so many defensive capabilities on both of these teams right now. You've got that Melio ult just about online, you've got the all out as well, so taking care of this Cassante can be pretty hard to do.
Yeah, just the plated steel caps on the Cassante, and he's already so tanky.
With this grasp as well, is just going to continue to stack up that health. Might even have an angle.
This is with a level here. This is a level down, by the way.
Gets the knockback. Going to go for the all out. Traded with the Dominus. Looking for the solo kill. Perhaps SK Knight in a little bit of trouble. Has the level lead for the moment. But look at the health to work with. Q3 going to miss for the moment. Will be free. Gets out cleanly for the moment. Silofu, Shurima Shuffle on board.
The Glacial Storm zoning here.
They'll get all 3 Void Grubs, and Fido's going to go in. King almost falls on down, will be the one to claim it, and that will be 3 kills over towards this Jin Jiao in. Looking for the Shurima Shuffle, lands it on towards 2, but the health bars are so incredibly low. There's no follow-up, there's no mana on the Lucian, there's no mana on the Melio, and they are stuck between a rock and a hard place. 6 kills on the board here for Variety Buck.
Stuck between a bird and a hard place, I would say. The zoning from Incept there, the Glacial Storm, and just making it impossible for the rest of Team Fat Pizza to help the what's it called, Silofu, stuck in the pit there. And you can see him on this comfort pick is so brave and just so natural. Everything comes so natural. He knows exactly his limits and his damage, and is able to just control these team fights perfectly.
Now, where do they go from here? They've got this 2k gold lead. And look at this. Look at this Jin Jiao. 4-0, has the Sunlit Sky complete. A full 1k lead over King. And with this position, no objectives up just yet to really make use of that. A minute 30 on the Hextech Dragon, so that might be the next opportunity for this team to fight. And it's something they have to fight over. They want a clean control of these feats of war rather. 3 Void Grubs available here for Fat Pizza, so if they can get Azir in a solo lane here, maybe free hitting on the tower, they can get a chance towards that.
Certainly, and a matter of vision as Fido sits directly onto a
He
wooded
doesn't know.
bush. How long will he stay, and how long, it's of course the eternal gambit, how long will Praedyth bait Fido to just waste as much time as possible,
Yeah.
pretending that they don't know it's on vision there.
Must
So it
know
seems
at this point
leaving
because he's
now.
going to back off. Silofu. King perhaps looking for an angle with that public execution, but it won't be enough this time around.
And that Ambessa with the public execution has so much range
Yeah.
that you just have to respect it at any angle. She can come from anywhere. And it's a decent sized hitbox that if you're not on the ball at all times, you
Yeah.
can just be caught out and swooped so easily.
Especially since it hits the last person in the line as well. You can't even like go behind it if you are like, you can't even stand in front if you are a tank and block it for them. It's immediately good steal away on that scuttle, so I'll have a little bit to work with here and even continue to grow this gold lead further.
And with that public execution, Ambessa is going to finish the Cyclo Sword, playing if it ever hits, you're going to be slowed and you're going to be dealt a large chunk of damage. Hopefully the Lulu Wild Growth and the Lulu Peel is enough, but
Silofu,
you can get a couple
not a
kills.
position you would necessarily want to be in. Wild Growth and the Killer Instinct to come on through. Burns a lot for just an ult at this point, and a little bit of damage at the very least, I guess, as King might be in a bad position here. 3-point strike, not going to land just yet. They'll claim so much
Look
room
at this. Look
in
at
this
the
jungle.
zoning from Anivia.
There's a 2-level gold lead, a 2-level lead in the jungle rather, and it definitely shows. King just not able to do anything in this situation, and Incept with this Anivia, just the zone control of
you could
this
see
ult
there,
is crazy.
If Incept wasn't top lane, there could be such an easy collapse from Praedyth, from Emilio, but because he's just nearby, he can stop dives like this. I don't think he has to give
can maybe
tower, and
go
I don't
for
think he
something
wants
now,
to give
though.
tower.
Public execution gonna miss. That was a bit of a whiff there. Anivia's down to the egg form. They'll get, gets out for free at the very least. Hang on a moment, Fido might be looking for something in trade. Over the wall, Viper looking for the angle, locks as well. Not able to find the damage in time. Not going to dash on in. Recognizing there's backup on the way from Quan. Fido almost has the angle with the wind becomes lightning, but Q gets away in time. Will it be enough? So incredibly
He's
low.
chasing
No
as much
smite
as he
available for
can.
now. Has the flash if he wants it, but Fido is unstoppable at the moment. 7 kills for the team. They get rid of the Anivia for the moment, but the extended fight not necessarily going in their favor.
Yeah, it was certainly expensive on both sides. And you really did see the power of Emilio coming out there. So much peel applied for Praedyth, as there seems to be, while that fight was going on, zero vision in this bot side because of it.
Hextech Drake secured for free here. No contest available. Just saving it for this Rift-Held fight. You've got to imagine a minute left on that timer. Starting to stack up these items. That's the Nash's Tooth now completed for Silofu.
Yeah, and Incept without the rower is coming out, but he's chosen to finish the Sorks first, and also seems to be going into a lost chapter of sorts for that Seraph, so he's going to be delaying any first item power spike for a decent amount of time. We'll see if it works out for him.
Yeah, this Anivia is... I mean, Anivia is always going to be useful in these fights, but not having rower before this fight would be quite disastrous, to say the very least.
Certainly, certainly. And with the 5 kills, it seems to me, though, as something occurred just then, as the gold is even out, Fido just lost his 300 gold bounty on him, as that is very unfortunate. It didn't pick that up in time. The Black Cleaver as well on the Renekton, he really wants to reduce the effectiveness of this Cassante.
A lot of armor being stacked by Cassante. That's Bramble Vest, Chain Vest, Steel Caps, plus the Doran Shield as well. Even with the Black Cleaver, it's going to be very, very hard to take down this Cassante, especially when he goes all out. Even in that extended trade, you saw not able to find anything here. Silofu continuing push out this tower. Public execution on the way. That's a very low health bar on this Anivia, all things considered. No passive available. Spots the angle though. Public
Ooh,
execution
goes
gonna
through.
hit, and that might just be instantly the kill. The electrocute to come on through. And they'll get the tower as well. They'll give
Without
up the
flash,
herald
without
for it.
egg. It is a slow bird indeed. You cannot get away from someone with as much movement as as Ambessa there. And they are trading, however, for a Rift Herald top. But no one is coming for that bot tier 2, so they might be able to take 2 towers here, honestly.
Yeah, potentially. Definitely chunking it low, especially with these 3 grubs. It's very hard to deal with in that lane, as now going to be forced off for the moment. Wind becomes lightning and just clearing room for this Herald to push on through. This is a CDR boot Xin Zhao, by the way.
It is.
From
I've
Xin
never
Zhao.
seen that, actually. That's why his
Knocked onto
cooldowns
the-
are so
yeah.
low.
I'm wondering how he gets that every few seconds, it seems, at this point.
And it is working beautifully for him. However, might
Get
have
the
to be
charge,
close.
the very
Quick
least.
chat.
So big chunk of damage on towards that tower. 2 minutes left till that objective. That's going to be the thing to fight for. Of
Certainly
course,
will be.
Artican towards top side this game, so split map for these objectives.
2 items on Xin Zhao, the Black Cleaver as well. There's not going to be much armor for this enemy team as you have Nectin. They don't stack, of course, but they can be applied to all of them now very, very quickly.
I want to say a quick shout out to Shock as well for the raid while we're at it.
Oh
Absolute-
my god, very
Absolute
kind.
monster.
What a
I love him.
legend. Thank you so much, Shock, as we are in the depths of a very, very tight, very close game.
Now we'll have to see where they go from here. Flickerblade complete for Praedyth. This is going to be a nasty Lucian to deal with, especially with that 1 item on the Milio. They have a lot of utility to work with in this. Pushing towards the tower as well, and Sailofu. Sleeper pick on the Azir. Doing pretty well.
Ooh.
Not on the bat. Oh, on the bad end of that trade is King just going to continue to go on in. Almost finds the 2nd kill, but the Wild Growth saves him for now. SK Knight, not necessarily where you want to be. Knocked back in towards the wall. Has the angle to work with. Cassante is ready to try and find something. Incept is there in time. 1 for 0 at the end of
Incept
the
in these fights, once Incept gets in these fights, I really feel that the tides will turn. But as you can
Yeah.
see, he was bot side during that. And the dominance from the Ambessa and the Lucian, the sheer amount of mobility that they have, makes it very difficult for this Kai'Sa and this Lulu to even exist on the same screen as this Ambessa.
Trying to push in this mid lane tower as well. Sailofu was able to claim top, extending the gold lead to just over 1k at the moment. Baito level 12 does a lot of damage with the wind becomes lightning. Quan takes a hit in trade. Still the 1 level lead though over the Ambessa, who does have the Serpent's Fang, like you mentioned, those shields. Very,
Yeah.
very powerful here for Variety Buckets. They will be a little bit less useful now. Not a great entryway in towards the pit here. Look at Irresponsible's positioning here. Good stun plus the polymorph. Gonna get on towards King. SK Knight with the dominance. They're gonna commit towards this. I'm not sure this is where you want to be, as the Pathmaker gonna push them all back in. And they start to clean up this fight. Locks not long for the world either. And they're gonna claim this objective and the Feats of War for free.
Wow, I mean, by all accounts, that should have been perfect for Variety Bucket. They had that beautiful little catch out with the Nivea wall, with the zoning, but due to the early game pressure on this Nivea, due to that dive, Incept only finds himself with a Roa, and so has no actual damage yet compared to Sailofu's 2-item power spike. And so the zoning efforts and the zoning power that they have currently is just not enough, especially trying to get through the Cassante's massive health bar.
And suddenly the lead of this Xin Zhao is becoming less and less relevant As we see, might be collapsed upon now as well. The Shurima Shuffle back towards the wall, looking for the angle, and that's easy to clean up. And that's what happens when there's no Merc Treads on this Xin Zhao. You just fall instantly. And now they've got a free opening in towards this Artican. Trying to find something, SK Knight just clearing away a few of those petals to give them a little bit less to work with here. But there's no room to go in towards this objective. The smite's there for free, and they'll claim it.
Yeah, Incept bot at the same time, and with Quan and Locke sort of slowly moving up, they just have to give this objective again, just like the Dragon. And yeah, you mentioned without any mercs or anything, this Xin Zhao is quite decently susceptible to CC and is just squishy. Just very, very squishy. And with this Shadow Flame complete on Silofa, you really saw that damage coming out and just doing so much. The Azir, the Emperor is well within his rights here.
Yeah. And this is sort of the problem with Anivia, right? Is quite strong. But that 2-item power spike, you absolutely need it. And they are expensive items. Right? The Archangels, the Roa, they are not cheap. And you have to buy both, really, if you want to have any chance towards this lane. There's a 3k gold lead in the mid lane as Fido looking for more. Praedyth maybe caught out here. Culling does a lot of damage. Might find the angle. Good for it. And now Fido running for the hills, but it's going to fall down instead. Praedyth for the double kill. And now they're going to keep on going towards this. Public Execution barely lands the angle. And SK Knight in a bit of a bad spot. That's going to be another kill on over. 4-1. Silofu on an absolute tear on this map.
While they may have a decent amount of sort of, shut down CC with the knock up and the sort of stun, the point and click stun from the Renekton, the knock up from the Xin Zhao and the Anivia, with the sheer amount of dashes that this Navori Quickblades is giving Praedyth here, he can just get so many rotations off and you just cannot get on him. You cannot do the damage you need to do to him. And with the Milio, combined with the Milio peeling, it's just making it impossible for Team Variety Bucket to get him at all.
And they're going to dive on in and try something. At the very least, Wild Growth looking for the angle, but it's not going to be enough. The all-out just forces him away. King is on a killing spree, and now Locke's forced to run once more. They've got nothing to work with. This might be the shortest game so far of this tournament. 23 minutes, and they're barging on the Nexus gates. Double inhibitor to fall. Incept has to try and make something work. They'll stop the push for the moment. Never mind. Hang on. Big chunk of damage. The Archangel barely saves him, but not going to be enough to end it all off. That's a double kill. That's a third down. And instantly, what looked like a potential base defense crumbles. And Fat Pizza will claim this game.
That is the game over. Wow, a very efficient, incredibly efficient game. 23 minutes just before Baron spawn as well. They are taking out this game before Baron Nashor has even spawned. That is a crazy feat, to say the least.
A valiant effort from Fido, but it isn't enough at the end of the day. King, Silofu, and of course the coach and the captain Praedyth, the ones to claim victory here in our second game of the day.
That was a crazy game. It was only at the end there did I really start to see just the beautifulness of that comp. It was a picture painting. I only noticed how many dashes, how much moves. It was like ballroom dancing. Lucian just going left to right across the screen, and Bessa just following up with those dashes, catching out with those public executions. And it just worked so well. Azir also unable to be shut down. And with the Milio peel, anytime you actually got just a second of CC onto them, cleanse just like that. And we saw that throughout this game.
And of course, I mean, like, you mentioned that long range, the Lucian, the Mbessa, the dashes and everything. Their range completely counteracted anything that this Anivia could do, right? It just made it so hard to play against. And it just, there was nothing that Incept could do at all, despite the early leads that Fido was able to accrue. And at the end of the day, Fat Pizza, a good showing and probably the most dominant game we've had so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got a bit of a theory on that Anivia gameplay, but for now, we'll take a short break before we get into the third game. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. And a very interesting situation has occurred, hasn't it, Just Mercury?
Yeah, it has, and it's unfortunate timing because Kaiose just raided us as well. So not the situation we would have hoped for.
Thank you, Kaiose. That's very
you
kind.
can be the bearer of bad news. It's your channel.
Yes. Unfortunately, to say, due to a couple late arrivals and certain technical hitches, Team Hello Kitty Friendship Circle has officially forfeited their match, as there will not be a Game 3. Now, that was against Team Capybara, Team Magikirin, Team Halo. But unfortunately, due to the forfeit, they will just be given the win, and Team Hello Kitty Friendship Circle will be given the loss. An unfortunate situation, and we really wanted to see that game, but life happens, things occur, and it's not going to be able to go through.
Unlucky situation. I was really excited to watch.
Me too. I was so keen.
That match was going to be so good. But unfortunately, we'll have to wait until another day to see both of those players compete.
It's such a shame. We do have something we can offer, though. However,
I'm getting breaking news. We have the footage.
It turns out, if anyone remembers the other day, the Cloudflare issue occurred that stopped the last 3 minutes of the game. Team Kaioses, interestingly enough, versus Team Poltron's Kittens. We do have that footage, which we'll be able to watch now. We can take a look at right now, but
we go live to Summoner's Rift.
Take it away, Mercury.
The final 3 minutes, here we go, of the game we missed earlier. This is what we've all been waiting for, the missing footage. Maybe not the missing footage that we would have hoped for, but here we go. And this is exactly where we cut off last
I remember
time.
this so strongly in my mind. Look at Kaiose creeping in the corner here.
And now we'll have to see how it all ended. The TP to come on through, and instantly Laughing Man in a little bit of trouble. The redemption to heal up. And this is where it paused. I remember vividly. Over the wall, Poltron looking for the angle. Big chunk of damage. And the Golden Eclipse to come on through. That's 2 kills. That's a third for Hallow. This is your time to shine on Mel.
Good on me. Look at that. I kind of forgot about the Tyrant in the mid lane here. 16 and 3.
16 and 3 was disgusting.
That's a crazy scoreline, all things considered.
And just over the wall, this is where it happened, the scene of the crime.
I don't know about your predictions, but I actually thought that they just ended right there, but it looks like they sort of slowed it down a bit and they went for this dragon instead.
I mean, I guess it makes sense in hindsight, right? Because it was 3 minutes of footage, so just playing a little bit safe, but even still 25 minutes in, they will secure that second dragon for themselves. Looking to get that back as well. I think that's a full-on Void Staff probably going to be completed here.
Oh my word. I never even...
It will be the Crypt Bloom, rather.
Good
here
Lord.
In the mid lane for Mar.
14k gold. That is an absurd number. That is an absurd number.
That's more than Dracov and Despas combined.
That's crazy. The execution passive of Bell is truly a greedy one, as all gold just gets sucked straight into that champion. And just for any confusion, that is not me playing on the Mel. That is Ma. Might know them as Cryanaya or Cryanara. Unfortunately, they stole my name. And as you can see, there's a command there.
There's a few of them. There's a couple. Few doppelgangers.
There's a couple. I hear there's a Hecarim that you might not want to meet. There might be a Renata Glass that goes around as Kaiose aims for a solo 1v1 against Laughing Man.
Yeah, probably wasn't expecting to see this when he decided to raid us just then, but Laughing Man chasing down, looking for the wall as well, I believe. Got it off in time. Can't spell shield that. Now Dracov forced to flash out of the way, but it's not going to be enough. Mar is unstoppable, looking for another. That's the stolen solar flare. Despas contributing to the death of Nicoya there, looking for more. This is how it ended. It seems a double kill for the captain. 3-6 and 19, gonna make that 3-6 20. A solid performance from the captain, and this is how they close things out. We've got the missing footage finally.
We heard what happened. We heard what happened, and now just witnessing it, bearing witness, it holds more power than I could potentially ever imagine.
And look at that golden eclipse to end things off. 18 and 3 for Mar. And that's how you do it. 27 minutes, quick and easy.
But
That's
not as
how it
quick and
ended.
easy as that game we had
Yeah.
today at 23 minutes.
And not as quick and easy as the game that we just missed as well,
Of
thanks
course.
to that forfeit.
I mean,
yeah.
That takes out the quickest game of probably the tournament. But we will, of course, extend our deepest apologies as we're not showing 3 games tonight, and we'll be only showing those 2. But you did get lucky. You did get lucky nonetheless. I did want to mention and just talk about it for a second. In terms of Incep's and Nivea pick, I just have this theory rolling around in my head. Do you think that they left Anivia open on purpose to allow themselves to get such a mobile comp and sort of bait Incept into locking Anivia so they could play through this mobile comp and get on him as quick as possible? Do you think that was ever that going through the champions or captains' heads?
It's definitely possible, right? Not even necessarily like baiting the champion in, but knowing that that's going to be a possibility and playing around that possibility with the picks. So I like that. I like the adaptation that we saw in the draft phase there for the side of Fat Pizza rather. My mind just completely blanked there for a moment, but I'm excited to see how the rest of the tournament goes for them. You know, we've got 3 games coming up tomorrow, and then we got Wednesday, and then we hit the best of 5s on the best of 3s rather on Saturday. Oh, it's going to be a good tournament ahead.
That's going to be good when we start seeing that Fearless go through. But yeah, unfortunately, we won't be getting a 3rd game tonight, but I would like to thank every single person for coming in. We did get some really good games. I mean, those were really good games all the same.
Yeah.
We will be here same time tomorrow evening for round 2 of the winners bracket with some more best of 1 games, including the 2 higher seeded teams, which you're going to want to be here for that. That's going to be really good. And you can stay up to date, by the way, with all this bracket information at the website, oceanicresurrection.com. But that's all for us. Mercury, any closing notes?
Well, it wasn't Cloudflare this time that was screwing us over. It was, unfortunately, time as a concept. So, unfortunately, we're going to crack that, and then we can get a solid tournament going.
Curse that Zillion E, absolutely. But from all of us, I would like to extend the thank you, and I hope everyone has a wonderful evening, and we'll see you all here tomorrow. But good night for now.